This is Rick Bowen with Underwater Explorer. We've got some exciting diving to do today. We're diving in northern Florida, and later on also we're diving in the Bahamas with some sharks and dolphins. This is called Little River Spring in northern Florida and is right in the center of the best cave diving in the world. Divers are coming out of the cavern system, as you can see, in about 12 to 15 feet of water, and they've been in that cave for over an hour. Some are using what's called technical diving gear, mixed gas, so they can stay down longer and don't have to decompress as much. That's a new form of diving that's just been out the past few years. These divers are making what's known as a safety stop at 15 feet for 3 minutes. This safety precaution is very urgent in diving nowadays to let the excess nitrogen burn off your system. This is the historic Suwannee River, also in middle northern Florida, and it supports some of the best spring diving in the world. This is a Quicksilver inflatable that we use to explore the river, and it's ideal for this purpose. This model is a 10-foot variety, and that is about a 9.9 horsepower motor on the back. We're on the beautiful Suwannee River in northern Florida, getting ready to dive some good springs. I'm with Holly at Branford Dive Center. Holly, what makes this area so special for divers?
Well, it's said to be the center of all the cave diving and the spring diving in all of Florida. We have more freshwater springs in a 25-mile radius than I think about anywhere in the world. And it's just a lovely place. Nature's beautiful, it's quiet, it's peaceful, and you can just go out and enjoy yourself. Most of the places, they don't charge you. It's still old-fashioned. It's fun. And I think that anybody that's been here will tell you the same thing.
This is the beautiful Santa Fe River, and this runs into the Suwannee River. And also there are a lot of springs that come from this river sighting also. Camping along the river is great, and the sites are ideal right on the water. Also great tubing in the area. The river right now is running a little high, which is good because the speed of course is increased. This is one of the most famous springs in the world. It's probably the clearest spring with visibility exceeding 300 feet. It's called Jenny Spring, right in the middle of Florida. These kids are diving in about 15 feet of water. Getting ready to go to another spring system. Again, this is on the Santa Fe River. This is the dive shop in Jenny Springs. Has anything that you could ever want as far as associated with diving equipment. Also, rental gear is available for anyone who forgets part of their dive gear. Also, food and beverages, because the spring is located about 20 miles from the nearest store. This water is so clean, it's purer than the water we drink. If you look to your right, you can see the exceptional visibility. Lots of fish in this particular spring. Now we're coming to Freeport, Grand Bahamas for one of the most exciting shark dives I think you'll witness. This is home of UNESCO, the Underwater Explorer Society. They've been here for over 3 decades. This is one of their dive boats getting ready to go out. Famous lighthouse off Freeport, Grand Bahama. This is the beautiful Pelican Bay Resort, and it's located right next door to the dive center. Also, it's right on the water, the canal system to get out to the ocean. It's about 15 minutes from the dock to the ocean. This is a relatively new luxury hotel. Diving conditions are really good year-round, especially during the spring and summer months. In the fall, it gets just a little cooler during the winter, but really any time is suitable for diving in Freeport, Bahamas. These are two of the little red boats, and they're for fishing charters. This boat holds a submarine. Lots of people from the cruise ships come in by literally the hundreds every afternoon. And this is the Bay Area in Freeport. Over 100 stores in that area. These folks are buying tickets to the dolphin dive and also the shark dive. Anytime the cruise ships are in town, there's always a band playing in the town center square. These are the straw markets that are all around the Bahamas, Freeport, also Nassau. And these storekeepers set up every day, early in the morning, and then late afternoon they take all their garments down and clean their areas. But patrons usually really flock around this area during late afternoon before they return to their cruise ship. This dive boat is getting ready to go on our first dive of the day. This is shark diving in Freeport. The person in the middle of the camera has on what's called a chainmail suit, and you've probably seen them in other shows. These are pure metal suits to protect the diver. Also, the diver's equipment, the rubber hoses, are wrapped in a special tape so the sharks can't bite through that and automatically cut off their air supply. These sharks are gradually coming in. The feeder has a tube of food that is let out very slowly. If the food is presented too quickly, the sharks get known as what is a feeding frenzy. These sharks are mainly reef sharks, and they're from anywhere from 6 to 9 feet long. Also a few nurse sharks that you'll see in a few moments. There was a phenomenon discovered several years ago. You'll see these sharks come in so close, and then the feeder stops them by grabbing their mouth. All of the shark's senses are located in that front area known as, looks like his nose, and they're very sensitive to that metal, and that's why they allow themselves to be touched like that, because of the attraction to the metal. We as a group are about 10 feet away next to an old decompression chamber in about 50 feet of water. We all have our arms interlocking to present a greater presence to the sharks. In other words, to the sharks we look more like a whale than 8 or 9 individual divers. These sharks have become used to this behavior over the years, and the diver only needs to be in the water for about 60 seconds with that food to attract the sharks. Their greatest sense of attraction is smell. They can detect 1 part blood in 1 million parts water. After the sharks feed, they sometimes try to get back to the food and swim right over our heads within inches. The small yellowtail fish are also trying to grab what's left over. Additional sharks are coming in for the feed. We're in about 50 feet of water, and the visibility is about 60 to 80 feet. This is a moray eel that was in the old decompression chamber that we were lined up against. And here we're returning from our dive. chainmail suit that she has on weighs about 20 pounds. So there's no weight belt needed in addition to that to get her down. This is also the cameraman, and he also wears a chainmail suit. We're returning from the dive. And in the wake of the boat, you'll see someone hanging on for dear life, surfing the wake. This was our shark feeder. We're coming back in from the dive, again at Pelican Bay Resort.
The diving here is excellent from the standpoint that we have a lot of variety. We have big animal encounters. The first thing to mention being our shark dive for one, where we go out and hand feed Caribbean reef sharks. We get anywhere from 4 to 25 sharks at a time, males and females, varying sizes from 4 to 9 feet, and it is a thrilling activity. In addition to just going out there and seeing the sharks and having the thrill of doing something risky and adventurous, we try and really get across the conservation message to have people walk away with a greater appreciation, a heightened awareness about sharks and the marine ecosystem itself. So that works very well. From that standpoint, it fulfills a couple of needs. It gives that person the adventure, gives them a great opportunity to see a magnificent fish in its natural environment, and also heightens their awareness as to the plight of sharks specifically and the entire marine environment. Our dolphin dive is very similar in that respect. It is an incredible opportunity to be in open water, interacting with Atlantic bottlenose dolphin, again, up close and personal, an opportunity that people don't normally have, an opportunity that is guaranteed as opposed to going out in hopes of seeing wild dolphins. And again, really hits home. The dolphin dive, more than just about anything else that we do, really gets people's heartstrings. It can be a life-changing experience for them, where they go out and see these magnificent mammals again in their natural environment, but also up close and personal for as long a time as possible.
That was Ollie Ferguson, dive manager of UNESCO, the Underwater Explorer Society. This is the dolphin dive, again, another exciting adventure. This 500-pound dolphin has been trained in various behavior forms, which you'll see. Right now, he's presenting himself to the feeder. These mammals are extremely intelligent. He's allowing himself to be stroked, and the skin feels just like a light rubber. He's also being fed by all the individuals. There are about 8 or 9 of us divers, and we're in a circle. And the porpoise comes up to each one of us for various behavior patterns. We're also, again, in about 50 feet of water. This porpoise is turning me around, and the amount of strength taken for him to do that is incredible. The porpoise does this with each one of the individuals inside the circle. We're told to get about 3 feet off the bottom once he tries to do this behavior. It's amazing that they could teach an animal to do such a behavior. Well, he just came up and kissed me. He's been trained to do that. And he'll sometime approach you going fairly fast, and you think, well, how will he stop to do his behavior? But he always does. Look at the control the animal has. A 500-pound fish able to stop like that. The dolphin are kept in tanks, and every day, in order to do the behavior, they're let out of their pens and follow the dive boat out, and they obviously love the experience. They love the interaction with divers. Very well taken care of dolphin. Some of them have little abrasions, as you can see there on his left side. Might have been the result of getting too close to a boat propeller. And here he's going for a breath of air. That's the dive boat you can barely see in the background. And he's on top of the water, coming back down in about 50 feet of water. The dive lasts for about 30 to 35 minutes to enable everyone to interact with the dolphin. If you remember the TV show Flipper years ago, this is about as close as you can get to that experience. We're getting ready to do the shark dive, and this is the bait for the sharks. It's frozen and placed in that feeding tube. The shark feeder is getting ready to get on the bottom, which is attracting several sharks as they smell the food from far away. Sharks are normally not sighted well, and their main sense of locating food is by smell. The decompression chamber is in our rear as we're grouped up again for another shark dive. On either side of us are divers in chainmail suits that have sticks to ward the sharks off if they get too close. The shark feeder simply walks in front of the platform and does not wear fins, as they're not needed for this behavior. Yellowtail cover the area trying to get scraps left over. Sometimes the sharks get very excited when the food is presented and the feeding process has to be slowed down, because these are some big sharks that could be nasty if they wanted to be. But as you can see, they can also be very gentle. Look at the shark's eyes. It's reacting to the metal in the chainmail suit. It's also like it's being hypnotized. There's a stingray coming in also for food. Normally sharks of this type have to swim constantly to stay alive, but this one is letting itself be petted. There were about 20 to 30 sharks on this dive, and there can be more or less, but that's usually about the average number, we're told. You can see the gill slits on his side working. The shark feeders were all well trained, and there's never been an incident in the years that they've been doing this program. This is a metal tube which the fish are kept in for food. Again, a ray trying to get into the act. Stingrays have a barb on the end of their tail that can inflict a serious wound if provoked. But that usually occurs only when someone steps on a ray accidentally in shallow water along the beach. The bigger rays, called the manta rays, of course, do not have a stinging barb. This ray simply can't get enough. If you want to experience this exciting dive, you can do it year-round, as the shark dive is done every week, several times a week. Basically, the procedure is the shark feeder is the first to enter the water, and they will go before the decompression cylinder in the background and set up. And when he or she is in place, then the other divers come down. This is a nurse shark. As you can see, its mouth looks different, and they normally don't bother divers unless, of course, provoked. Nurse sharks, as well as reef sharks, came in on the feed. That's a reef shark. As you can see, the mouth is different. Again, the nurse shark came in. Nurse sharks can lie on the bottom for long periods of time. And it's not necessary for that species to constantly keep moving. Notice again the hoses on the back of the regulator in the tank are taped with a special tape to make it stronger so the sharks can't bite through. That's a grouper on top of someone's head trying to get in for the feed. They normally back way off when sharks are in the area, though. They'll be really happy with a scrap. The feeder knows exactly how to present the food so as not to do it quickly and start a shark frenzy. Here's our friendly moray eel in the cylinder behind where us divers are gathered. He was about 4 to 5 feet long, and that's apparently his home. That's a safety diver on the right, and that's our group right in the center of the picture. And we're about 10 feet away from the feeder. They stay in the area until every morsel of food is gone. They also tell us to interlock our arms and elbows when we're on the cylinder to present a bigger target. It's incredible the docile behavior that these sharks will allow themselves to do. They're called man-eaters, but as you can see, they're trying to feed just like any other fish. That's not to diminish the fact that they can be dangerous. As with any animal, there is a zone of danger, but the safety factor here is quite high. Our first question was, when we're bundled up like that and presenting this bigger target, is how do we disperse when the feeding is over? And when the last morsel of food is being consumed, the feeder simply walks away from our group in the opposite direction. And the sharks and the fish follow him or her until they're aware of the fact that there's no more food. And after the feeder is about 50 to 60 feet away, we as a group break up and return to the surface. They instinctively know when that last morsel of food is gone. Very unusual behavior for a shark to allow itself to be petted like that. They're reacting to the metal again in the chainmail suit. Shark Feeder also has on 2 tanks and more of an air supply than us that are observing the event, so if anything did happen and she had to get the sharks going another direction, he or she would have ample air to do so. This dive also lasts about 30 to 35 minutes, and there's no exertion as you're simply kneeling on the bottom watching this, but it is an adrenaline rush. This is Rick Bone with Underwater Explorer. If you want one of the most exciting dives that you can experience, dive UNESCO, Freeport, Grand Bahama.